Hi YouTube. Big announcement here. I'm going to be having some new content on my channel. Of course, you know I like to make things and I'm a do-it-yourself person. I did get rid of the CNC lathe, the Rhino lathe. So you've watched those videos if you subscribe to my channel. I ended up selling it to a young guy that's at Dunwoody here in Minneapolis doing mechanical engineering there. They have a mechanical engineer degree now. And he wants to get it working. So I just decided that it was just out of my wheelhouse to get that thing working. So um, I'm coming back into motorcycles. I used to have motorcycles. This one is a 1995 Ducati Super Sport 900 SS SP, which the SP is like a special edition with like carbon fiber parts on it. I'll be showing some things I want to do to it. It works, but like any old bike, there's always things that it could use. So I'm gonna start doing some videos on this content on my channel. I hope you enjoy it. Let me tell you a little story about how I ended up with this. I have a friend that lives in San Diego, and he's got a garage full of motorcycles, and last fall I went out there to visit him, and he was gracious enough to let me ride around on his bikes. And he has one like this, similar one, but if you're a Ducati person, I think it's a 97 final edition silver, so it's like even more desirable than this one. But basically I had so much fun on the bike that I just decided I need to get a bike again, so I got this one. And he actually said that if I get one out there, he's coming out here and he could bring it. I'm like, all right, because I'm in Minnesota here in Minneapolis. So I found this bike, and he went out and looked at it and negotiated, and I just sent the person the money. And sounds like this thing, I don't know, came out of we think it came from like a divorce situation. The person didn't seem to know much about it. But anyways, so he coordinated all that for me. It was very great of him. And so I went out there a few months ago, and we rode out at Chuckwalla on our bikes. Had a blast. So that's how I ended up with this. So let me walk around and show you my setup here, show you the bike and my setup. I got this motorcycle lift from Northern Tools, and that's like normally $550. I bought it on sale for like $100 off. That was on Black Friday, actually. I have pit bull stands that I decided, since I'm getting an old bike, I'm going to need to work on it. And I fitted the lift with diamond plate aluminum, and discovered that it can roll right off of here. So I got to do a permanent fix. Those are my screwdrivers that are basically keeping this whole thing from rolling off of here, because these pit bull stands will slide on the ground. That's on purpose. I did spend a day on a track out at Chuckwalla in California. They're Pirelli Diablo Super Corsa tires. They're a dual compound tire. They're really for the track, but they have a little harder strip in the middle for a little more wear resistant on the street. This is a 900cc motor. These old Super Sports are air cooled. I think it has an oil cooler. Yeah, it does have an oil cooler in there. It's got double disc. I think those are 4-piston Brembos. And actually, I believe that's cast iron rotors, which are actually a performance upgrade. I don't know, this just kind of blows me away. These rotors are loose. I don't know, it's like a floating rotor. Then it's got or no, this is not Olin's. This is Showa shocks, but they're fully adjustable. So I already have the front ones apart and fixed a seal, and then the rear one I haven't done anything with. That's up there. But this bike, and then it has aftermarket pipes, stain line, made in Australia is what it says. And so, but I think this was a bike. This was sold in the U.S. though. I got it out of California. It was for sale. It wasn't running. It had an electrical problem, which turned out to be pretty minor. And at some point in its life, there's a sticker from Missouri on it. So this thing has been all over the place, it looks like. But it's a lot of fun. It's about 80 horsepower, and it handles in corners really good. 413 pounds, light for its time. So yeah, anyways, that's a little walk around of it. And then the lift, I decided that I deserve to have a lift so I don't have to bend over. It makes things a lot easier. And this stand is a hybrid front stand. This thing can swing up, and it can go up under here, under the triple clamp. There's a hole where that tube is. That has to come out of there, and you can pick it up from there, and then you can take the forks off of it. And so that's a little overview of the bike before I get into the first project. One of the things about the Ducatis that gives them character is they have a dry clutch. So I have to fix the clutch hose. This thing's 30 years old. I ran this thing all day out on the track, and at the end of the day, all of a sudden, the clutch locked up. And this, it basically pushed the clutch out through the stock cover. So I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, there it is. So this is unfortunate. This is an original part for the SP model. First thing I'm going to do is fix the hose. I'm going to change the hose. So I ended up getting these stainless steel braided lines. I'm going to do all the brakes and the clutch so it matches, and that's the reason that this pushed out is because the rubber hose, which is what these came from, it like expanded after an entire day of beating this thing up on the track. I mean, it was a ton of fun, but maybe I'll throw in a picture, stitch a picture into my video. I will probably just do a repair on this and kind of leave it the way it is. This is a dry clutch. It doesn't need to be totally sealed up. Some people leave them open. I don't know. I might even, this could catch your toe though. That would suck. So anyways, that's what I'm doing here. So if you get a bike, get yourself some T-handles. I bought this set of Eklund T-handles that go all the way up to like 10 millimeters and 3/8. It's metric and English. These bolts are 4 millimeter heads. This bike, I had a crack in the frame on this bike. I had that repaired out in California. And that's a 3 millimeter. Yeah. This thing is not the original paint job. It's been repainted. I don't know. It probably crashed at one point. There's some scratches right there. Made it through a full day at the track though, at Chuckwalla. There's not a whole lot of screws that hold this thing together. It's amazing. I'm gonna take these out and Yeah, I don't know. These old bikes are, it's like an old car. You better be ready to wrench. There is two straps on the bottom that connect the fairing on the left and the right hand side. So you can just take off. You can just take off one side, and then it'll come apart. Oh my god, these fairings are, they can be patience testing for sure. Like this one here, I'm not sure if it's gonna come out very easily. God dang. Okay, we'll pause this for a second. So one of the first things you find out with these old bikes is that they are, the hardware that holds everything together is, it's just totally wore out. So like, I don't know, they call these well nuts. I got one here. I bought a new kit of these things. But basically, like, it has like a long screw. It has here's the kit, different sizes. And this is a compressible rubber, and this screw goes in. It goes in this way, and then as you tighten it down, it squishes the rubber down, and it's like an anti-vibration thing. Like, it's all over the bike. The fairings, the windshield, everything is fastened with this stuff, and it's 30 years old. So basically all this stuff needs to be replaced. So this is one here that this one just came apart, and oh, it says Walnut right on there. Okay, so Walnut must be a brand. But yeah, it's frustrating. So I I got me some air tools. Getting lazier as I get older with the wrenching, and it's pretty nice having the air tools. So I'm gonna take off this screw right here. And I see there's some damage on the fairing behind this one. And then this one right here. And then there's a light right here. So that's it. Fairing is off. There's the back side of it. Looks like it used to have some sound deadener or insulation or something, long gone. So I will set this out of the way, and I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. But here, now you got a good view of the engine. Let's see if you got a, yeah. So it's a 90-degree V-twin is what it is, and so it's a good view of it. I'm gonna take the other side off. So here is the brake, the clutch line from Spiegler, and this is the rubber hose right here. So bent end right there, it's gonna go like that, and then this is gonna run up there. So I gotta bleed that off, and I need to get a bottle to put that in. So I've got a funnel and a jug here for the oil. Let's see, 10. Oh, it's not 10. I thought everything was a 10 millimeter. Must be 12. And try to keep the brake fluid from leaking all over the place. Wonder if these zip ties are, oh, they're definitely not factory. Okay. You know, the bike's 30 years old, but I don't know how many parts on the bike are 30 years old. Let's see, how do we get the fluid out of this thing? Oh, there we go. I'm pulling the brake lever, or the clutch lever, and now it's coming out. Every time I pull on it, a little more goes down in the reservoir. Okay, there we go. And these, I think they're called banjo fittings. There's a washer, a copper washer on both sides. So I'm going to reuse this. Let's see if the new hose is the same length as the old hose. Pretty close. I'm going to take and polish this up a little bit. It makes it faster when it's shiny. All right, so I got the cable started here. I'm just routing it over to the clutch push rod, which is right there later. So got my one washer on. The way these brakes work is the hole down the center and then there's holes in the sides. So you need a washer on both sides of the banjo. So I put this here like this and put that like that. Now this is not a factory push, I don't know what you call this, slave cylinder, I guess, for the clutch. It's a Oberon is what it says, Oberon. So somebody put that on there. So I am attaching the top here. Let me adjust the camera a little bit. The brake lines come with, oh, it came with new washers. You know, these are probably some sort of a crush washer, so now that I think about it, definitely good to replace them. You know, the copper is probably better, but it's used. So yeah, these are thicker. So putting this back on here, and then you'll see that these lines twist in order to get it just right for the installation. So like this bottom one is really not going to do anything about this. All the adjustments will be made on the top. All right, what I want to share about these brake lines is that and I can't probably get a clear shot for you, but I have a vice grip on these blue clamps, and you have to get real tight on the end of the hose in order to twist it with this rod, and I was not able to do that without the vice grip. So now I think I've got it where I want it, so I'm gonna put the bolt on here and see how it looks. Okay. So here is the end of the hose right here. Tricky. Okay, there we go. I got it started. Hope that's the right tightness. Maybe I should have put a torque wrench on there. Let's see. We'll back up a little bit here. So, a trick I learned from a motorcycle mechanic named Mikey at Sunday Cycles is you put two small holes in here, and now it can pour in a controlled fashion. I'm still gonna use a funnel, and I'll be able to control it a little bit better. So here is the reservoir. Okay. Okay. Reservoir is full. All right. And now you see, this isn't like bleeding brakes. If I pull the clutch lever, this rod is just going to move over here. So what I read is take this out, and you can put a clamp on the slave cylinder, keep it from moving. So I've got a C clamp here, and I'm going to put a rag on the end of this thing. This is anodized aluminum. I don't want to scratch it. Reservoir. So here we go. I got the slave cylinder is constrained. Put the cap on here and start leading this thing. Clutch pedal down. Clutch hose, I mean, not pedal. And close a little bit. Okay, holding it down, holding the handle down. Another bubble. Okay, I closed it. Pumping, holding. Open bleeder valve, close bleeder valve, pump. See, so I got 20 inches right there. Now watch the tubing. Yeah, that's pulling bubbles. That is pulling bubbles. So I'm going to keep doing this. So I've got it, and what I ended up doing was using the vacuum bleeder. I don't know how easy this would have been to do without it. I'll show you. I had to clamp this thing here. There's the rear set for the foot peg. I clamped it to that, and then I actually ended up putting a washer on top of the piston because it seemed like the piston was actually maybe going a little crooked a little bit. I was pumping the clutch pedal and the clamp was not on center. This is about a 1-inch diameter, and it looked like I could actually see the piston flexing sideways. So now I'm gonna slowly take this off of here and see. I'm watching my fluid up top. The fluid in the reservoir just went down a little bit. It migrated out. That's what it looks like. So now I'm gonna put it back on here. I'll give you a little closer view of this here. That's the clutch push rod right there. So I'm gonna put this on. I've got 3 screws. This is 5mm heads. Okay, getting that one started. All right. And getting this one started, and then there's a third one on the bottom here. So yeah, I didn't even end up pumping this pedal to bleed it. I used the bleeder valve, and also on this bleeder valve there's some, like I said, there's some Teflon tape, 1/4 inch thick, very narrow. So now I'm gonna put this on here, and we will see if the clutch works. Okay. All right. So I tried to press in the clutch and nothing happened. So let me show you something here. This rod goes all the way through. So we're going to go around to this side of the bike. I still was pulling the clutch and it was not going in all the way. So right there, I just pressed that rod in all the way. And now I come back over here. And now you can see that this rod is sticking out. So I took this out all the way. I cleaned it up. And I put some grease on it and I put it back in. So here's the rod. This is the end that touches the clutch. There's two O-rings on this end that go right there. It's real dirty. I'm gonna get some more fresh grease, put on there. Just a little bit. I'm not even sure what kind of grease that takes, but I don't want a lot because I don't want it getting on the clutch, but let's put some. And then there's O-rings. I don't know. I guess there must be a crank. There must be a crank case. It must go through somehow. Otherwise, there wouldn't be O-rings there. So I'm just kind of stuck here. The clutch is not releasing. Here. I don't know what this is. That thing's loose. What the hell? How is that possible? What is this? It's a nut. And the nut was loose. And this is the end of the shifter rod. Okay. How the heck? I'm gonna have to check on the torque rating should be for that. That seems odd. So this nut was not tightened down. So I'm gonna torque it down. And then I'm gonna see if this thing works. So before I torque down this nut, before I torque down the nut, I'm gonna pull this off. Just make sure everything looks okay. Okay. I mean, everything looks okay. There's some nicks on here. And I made this tool. This is a vice grips. I welded these metal tabs onto here. So wow. The pipe is now just hitting the ground right there. So now I can put the torque wrench on here. And this is scary. But that's what it said. Oh my God. Whew, there we go. You hear that click? That was 137 foot-pounds. And this thing survived. I'm very happy about that. So what I've discovered is that I need new clutch plates, and this nut was loose. So I actually don't know that that rubber hose was a failure point. I measured these, and they're right at the service limit. A couple of them are even below it at 2.8 millimeters minimum. I measured like 2.85 down to 2.65, so pretty close. I'm going to put it back together just to make sure that the clutch is working. But I did read that these, you got the friction discs, and then you have the steel plates, and the steel plates have a notch. And so what I read is that it's good practice to index and orient and clock the notches on all of these steel plates to help with balance and clutch noise. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I've got the first one in, and where is the notch? Thought I had the notch. Hard to see, so I'm going to pull it out. The way you get these out is you put a screwdriver in here. I have some picks basically. Okay, this first one is not actually, oh yeah, there it is. Okay. And then I'm going to put a clutch disc on here. So the spec on the length of this spring is 47.4. Ooh, that's quite a bit less. Damn. Man, let me double check that again. 40.7. Ouch. Wow. 40.2. These springs are toast. 40.3. Oh man. Let me double check that. Yeah, it's supposed to be 47.4. They're like 40.4. So these springs are seriously done for. I'm going to put it back together just to make sure this thing works now. But damn, that's one thing I'm going to point out here is that these T-handles, I can't say enough about how great they are. Like this, I'm pushing. Let me back up a little bit. I mean, like getting this spring started, the screw doesn't actually engage into the threaded hole. You have to compress this, and it's real easy to do that with the T-handle. This would be like extremely difficult with a regular L handle like this. Like I can't even imagine to do it with the socket or something, but these T-handles I just are just the best thing ever. Now I'm putting these down in a sequence per the manual. Opposites. Here is the test if it worked. I got everything back together. Ah, yes, it fits. So we are good on that. So I think what we've got to do is the springs go on here and they press this even harder. But like now I've actually got it so that way the clutch discs are pretty much tight right now. So I'm going to put the springs back on and see if that works. So now that I have this thing on all the way, the springs no longer, they're basically just the right length. to put the screws in. Of course, if they were 7 millimeters longer, which they should be, then that would not be the case. But in any way, I can tell that the clutch discs are now fully seated and compressed. So I am expecting that this will make it be tight. I hope so. I would love to be driving this tomorrow. So the finale of the video here is that we have a working clutch. So if I reach over here and pull on the clutch lever, you can see that it's releasing. So like right now, I let go of the clutch lever, and this is tight. The plates are tight, and I'm going to pull it in now, and you can see this just moved out, and now this is loose. So we are good.